it's Crafty Hope. I am back with part 2 of my beginning jewelry making series of videos. So this section, we're going to be talking about some of the different materials that you can use to make jewelry. First, I want to do a disclaimer that I am a self-taught jewelry artist, and I've had a couple classes of different things, but not specifically on the basics of jewelry. So I just am here to share what I know and how I do things and what I use and that kind of thing. Just for those of you interested in maybe making a couple of things for yourself or getting started in jewelry making, this will give you an idea of some of the things that you might want to get yourself to get started. So in my last video, I showed you the different tools, mostly pliers, that you would need to get started with jewelry making. Now I want to share the materials that you can use. Now these are just some of the things you can use. There are tons and tons more. There are things I don't even know what they are, but I'm sharing again what I know. So the main thing that I use in jewelry making is wire. That's my go-to. I like, and I'm not somebody who uses high-end wire. I don't use gold or sterling silver or silver, really. I like stuff I can get easily and inexpensively. That way I can, if I mess up, it's not a big deal, and that way I can save money to my consumer in the long run. So a lot of my wire comes from the hardware store. I really enjoy working with antiqued brass wire. It's probably my favorite thing. And again, this is straight from the hardware store. You can also get copper wire, and this is dark annealed steel wire. I will say the dark annealed steel will have to be sealed with something, a wax, like a floor wax paste or Renaissance wax or something like that, that helps keep it from deteriorating. If you patina the copper or the brass wire with something, I also recommend sealing it just to keep it in that condition. But you can also get wire at the craft store, obviously. Here's a couple of the different wires that I use. This is from Vintage, and this is artistic wire. And I just pick it up when I think I need some and whatever brand's available. So I'm not, again, touting any particular brand, but these are wires that you can get. Now wires and a lot of other different materials have different sizes. The thing to know with jewelry wire or wire in general is they come in gauges, and the smaller the gauge, the thicker the wire. It's very bizarre. I don't understand it, but that's how they do things. This brass wire is extremely thick. But it is 16 gauge, whereas this copper wire is way thinner, and it is a 24 gauge. And then my annealed steel here is a 19 gauge, so it's kind of in between. I tend to personally prefer a 22 gauge wire. I don't even know if I pulled out any 22 gauge, but that's my personal preference when it comes to jewelry making. But it depends. If I'm doing ear wires or something like that, it's going to be something different. So kind of play around. Again, you can get stuff at the hardware store to play with and see what kind of gauges you like. Okay, some of the other materials that you can use when it comes to jewelry making, of course, chain. Chain is like is a basic, it's your bread and butter of jewelry making. It's already made, it's there for you. You can throw on a charm or a focal and be done. So chain is, and again, it comes in all kinds of materials: brass, copper, you can get sterling silver, gold, whatever you want. Take a look around. Then there is bead stringing wire. Now these come usually in rolls like this. It's got a little thing that slides off, and here's your wire. Now bead stringing wire is wire that's coated with plastic to protect the wire from deteriorating and breaking. So, and again, it comes in totally different sizes, and you can get gold colored, silver colored, even like blues and greens and things like that. So usually you're going to find it at a bead store or craft store. those are probably, oh, and then there's cord. Now, cord goes into a gazillion different things. There's waxed linen cord that tends to come on rolls like this, and it's waxed again to increase its durability and its workability. You can get different cords. There are, for people that do a lot of seed bead work, there are smaller cords like this, and I tend to call them thread because that's what it looks like to me, are different threads. And as you can see, they come in all different colors and whatnot. And I don't even know why I have this little baggie of it because I don't work with seed beads, but it's a just in case. Okay, so those are probably the 4 main things that get used: wire, chain, beading wire, and cord. But there are other things out there like hemp. Now, hemp, traditionally, you're going to use like a macrame type technique to work with it. And I used to do a lot of hemp work when I got started. Not as much anymore, but I still have some around just in case. Leather is also very common material that you can use to work in jewelry making. And again, you know, leather comes in a gazillion colors and materials. This is a suede cording is what they call it, but suede leather. You got it. You can also use different fibers like sari silk in your jewelry making. I get it online, or I've had other people send it to me. I don't use it very often, but it's so pretty and soft, and I love the fraying, and I love sari silk. But I don't use it much. Now, you can also use fishing line, or like a, you're not going to be able to see this, but it is a nylon cord. And that's what you use when you're making like floating necklaces and things like that. Or you can use it to string stuff on. I started with fishing line. It seems I've gotten rid of all my fishing line, and I have this, which I think is from the sewing section. And it's transparent nylon, but I believe in the jewelry section of most of your jewelry stores, you'll be able to find something similar. And the one thing I don't have that a lot of people use is elastic. I do not use elastic. I try not to anyway. A lot of people love elastic bracelets. I cannot seem to master the knotting technique for those bracelets. I have people bring me their bracelets all the time that have broken, that they've bought from stores and whatnot, that are elastic. It's just, to me, not completely reliable. It breaks really easy. So I don't really like to use elastic because I'd hate to sell somebody something that just is gonna break. So, whoa. In all of that, I forgot one key thing, and that is memory wire. This is a perfect material for beginners because it simply requires a loop, stringing, and another loop. We'll get into how to use it later, but I wanted to give you a look at it. It basically comes in a coil like this and is very springy and keeps its shape, but thus the name memory wire. It has a memory for its shape. So you'll find it in, this is a bracelet size, but you can also find it in necklace and ring sizes. But this one also is an antiqued brass color. A lot of times you'll just see it in a like silver tone color. So, all right, back to your regular programming. Those are the main materials that I believe can be used in jewelry making. Like I said, wire is my go-to, my favorite thing. It's fabulous. I love wire. But chain is great, beading wire, and different cords. You know, wax linen cord, jewelry cording. I believe there's like S-lon and C-lon, and all those terms that if you know somebody that's a seed beater, they can explain that to you. Not my thing. So that's where I am with materials for this section of jewelry making. Now, if I want you to go out and get started, I would start with maybe some beading wire. That's going to be the simplest thing to start with. Wire as well is good, and chain. Those are, you know, depending on what you want to make, those are the 3 things that I would go out and get. One of those 3 things. I'm rushing, and I hate that. So I'm going to go ahead and end this section. If you have anything to add to this, or questions that you want answered, please let me know in the comments. Like, subscribe. Thank you for watching.